Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about the other side of the HEX story that you might not be aware of. Depending on who you are, you might be new to crypto and you might have seen some misinformation out there about HEX. You might have stumbled across a video or an article written by somebody that frankly doesn't even know what they're talking about. So if you're open-minded enough to hear the other side, stick around till the end and be patient, because I'm going to go through all the common reasons and just the tired, overused, basically arguments against HEX and rebuttals to them. And then you can make your own decision at the end of the day on what you really think. Now, you see, there's a lot of people in cryptocurrency that they really just talk their bags at the end of the day. Everybody's biased towards the coin they hold, and cryptocurrency is a very emotional place, all right? Any coin that I don't own must be a scam to some people, right? People love fighting and love tribalism, and to some degree, that's human nature. And of course, you're going to be biased if you hold a certain coin. Yeah, that's true. But you got to look at the facts objectively about what HEX really is, what it does, and whether or not you think it's a scam is, again, totally your decision. But I'm going to give you what a lot of people aren't telling you, okay? This is the real cold hard facts right here. You see, a lot of people look at HEX, they look at the people promoting HEX, and they think it must be a scam because of the aggressive marketing techniques that people use in the HEX community. And it's a global, worldwide community, right? It's all organic, all grassroots. And to be honest, there's no CEO of HEX, okay? There's no business called HEX Incorporated. It's literally just a cryptocurrency like every other crypto out there. And it's promoting itself as best as it possibly can. In my opinion, doing a better job than the Bitcoin guys are doing out there. But at the end of the day, all cryptocurrency really is these different memes, these different ideas competing in the battlefield of ideas. And then the market ends up deciding who's right and who's wrong. Simple as that, right? So people yell and scream scam because of marketing, right? Because we like to market and we do it all for free, right? I'm not being paid by anybody. Again, there's no company. The founder, Richard Hart, it's not like he's the CEO of HEX, okay? So that paradigm alone confuses a lot of people. HEX is not a company. It's simply a cryptocurrency. And because of that, it inherits all the same benefits that, Bitcoin, for example, does, of the censorship resistance, the immutability. It's actually a bit better in some aspects with concerns to safety, right? Bitcoin's been hacked twice. HEX has never been hacked. 100% uptime. HEX can make you yield. Bitcoin cannot. And these are truly decentralized protocols that can't be changed. The HEX code is immutable, and the founder can't do anything to change it, okay? And that's the important part, is that the code is immutable. The code cannot be changed, because the whole reason we invented crypto was to remove corrupt middlemen. I mean, Bitcoin was invented in 2008 as a response to the last housing crisis, which was awful. But we realized enough was enough. We need to make better forms of currency, or just economic stores of value that can't be manipulated by, for example, the Federal Reserve, just controlled by a small group of guys that you didn't even elect, that get to decide the inflation rate and basically get to steal your purchasing power, right? So it really is up to us, and we do feel an obligation to spread a better store of value to the entire world. And I chose HEX because I see so much more price potential than Bitcoin, okay? I see so much more potential because not only is it new, it's got more features. You can't make interest on your Bitcoin without lending it to yet another middleman, the very middleman Bitcoin was invented to get rid of, right? So it's ironic. And being so old and outdated, a lot of people in Bitcoin, they just don't want to give it up. They've held on for so long that they're emotionally tied to their investments, just like a lot of people are, myself included, right? When you hold something, you are emotionally invested in that thing. I want cryptocurrency as a whole to do well, and we all do, but we chose the HEX tribe, at least the people that are promoting HEX, and we use marketing tactics that work. And I think one of the differences that a lot of people don't understand is that, a lot of cryptocurrencies, quite frankly, are just a bunch of nerds, for lack of a better word. And that's a good thing, right? It's 2022. Nerds are popular. Nerds are cool. They're the ones making all the stuff, right? All the cool innovations. But you need marketing for an idea so people can hear about your idea, right? How is anybody going to hear about your idea unless you market it? So we're doing all kinds of things that seem to trigger people. Like, people will get a postcard in the mail and then complain that they got a postcard. They basically are complaining that there's people out there that are using their freedom of speech to send mail, buying it with their own money, to promote the idea of HEX, to explain, a little postcard explaining what HEX is and what it's all about. For some reason, that angers people. And I really think the disconnect is maybe just tech people aren't the best marketers, and vice versa. But guys, I mean, you can hate marketing all you want, but it's an absolute necessity. If you want your coin to get adoption, and adoption is what makes the price go up, you got to market it. You got to tell people about it. People are getting on YouTube. They're not getting paid for it. All right. Richard Hart's not paying any of us out here. Okay. The founder has never paid a cent for marketing. It's all self-promotion because it's a price positive feedback loop, which kind of leads me into another point. HEX was actually designed to go up in price, which is the only thing, let's be honest, the only thing that anybody in crypto cares about. Okay. And Hexicans, that's what we call ourselves. Kind of corny, I know, but we are one of the only communities that admit that price going up is the only reason people buy this shit in the first place. People speculate on Bitcoin, they speculate on HEX, and all of crypto is a speculative asset class. It's also the highest appreciating asset class in all of human history. So let's not pretend that we're not here to make money, okay? A lot of people are trying to virtue signal and pretend, especially in Bitcoin, now that, in my opinion, the gains are going to be lackluster going forward. You'd be lucky to get a 5x multiple on your Bitcoin, maybe 10x in the next bull run. Think about how high newer coins with smaller market caps can actually go. But anyway, we're admitting that people buy this stuff for the price, and that's okay. You can be in it for the price, and you don't have to feel bad that you want to get financial freedom. I think a lot of people are wealth shaming around here. And in the world in general, there seems to be this negative connotation towards wanting to get financial freedom, but that is the premise HEX was based on. We want enough people to get in early on this coin so that they can change their lives. And it's already happened for thousands and thousands of people in HEX. I'm one of them. It changed my life. And in terms of the amount of gains that it did in the last cycle and that it's probably going to do in this cycle too. I don't have a crystal ball, but it seems pretty likely. The gains are astronomical, and you're not going to get that in the stock market or even in Bitcoin, right? In the stock market, they'll lose their minds if they get 40% returns in a year. That's like amazing, right? But that's a single day. That's a weekend in the crypto markets. You know what I mean? So yeah, HEX was a coin designed to pump in price to get more people in, because you can be in something for the money and the technology at the same time, right? I like to say that a nice side effect of achieving financial freedom through the mad gains is a global cryptocurrency revolution. It's the largest wealth transfer in human history. And that just happens to be an emergent property of everybody being greedy and trying to go for, the financial freedom part, the number go up. We're all here for the price, and hey, we're all here for the freedom as well. And if something like HEX can continue to make new millionaires in the next bull market, when it comes back, because everything does, it's all a cycle, right? If it can continue to do that, then it will be achieving its mission of allowing us to not only get rich, which again, it's okay to get rich, guys. It's okay to admit that you don't want to work a 9-to-5 for the rest of your life and you want to focus on your passions. That's okay. But it's okay to have that. And as a nice little side effect, you get digital, borderless, peer-to-peer, free self-sovereign money, right? Nobody can tell you how to spend your money, where to spend it. There's no middleman that's corrupt that can dictate, you can't spend your money. I'm going to shut your account off just because I don't like what you were doing. That was the reason crypto was invented, was to remove middlemen and corruption. But how are people going to onboard into it unless they think the price is going to go up? It's got to be worth holding. And HEX is a coin worth holding on a multi-year timescale. That's another thing that people get wrong. People call HEX a pump and dump when they don't realize that it was actually designed to last longer than most of our lifetimes. Literally. The HEX code is 100% immutable and it lives on top of Ethereum. So it's unlike Bitcoin in that way. It uses Ethereum as the primary network layer. But HEX itself is simply a smart contract. It's locked and isolated. It's safe from bugs. It's been audited 3 times. It's never been hacked. 100% uptime for 3 years. While everything else is collapsing and failing in cryptocurrency. And it's funny that people that bought things that just totally blew up, like Celsius and Luna, they want to call HEX a scam when it's still here after 3 years. It's impervious to falling apart technologically, right? The only thing you can do with it to hurt the price is to sell it. And that's all HEX is. It's an open market, just like Bitcoin. You buy the coin, the price goes up. You sell the coin, the price goes down. And that's another ridiculous argument that I hear over and over again, is that people will be like, oh, HEX is a scam because look at how far it dropped. The price chart, it dropped 90%. Must be a scam, right? Look, when a stock goes up and down, when people buy it and sell it, when people buy something, the price goes up. They sell it, the price goes down. If you're going to call something a scam because it went down in price, you can probably call everything a scam, depending on what time frame you look at it. But if you zoom out on the HEX chart, you'll realize that even though it went down 90%, it's still up over 1,000x from where the absolute bottom point was. Okay, so a lot of people in HEX are still up on their money because they got in earlier. than the last cycle. And everything is cyclical, okay? People don't want to talk about that in cryptocurrency. Hey, guess what? Bitcoin's down 70% too, 65%, whatever, from all-time highs. Is Bitcoin a scam because it went down in price? Because if you believe that, then you might as well just call everything a scam, right? People will call it a Ponzi, MLM. They have no idea what these words mean. Ponzi is such an easy word to say. Nobody even understands what it means. A Ponzi scheme is when, money is taken from investors and then you make a promise that I'm going to give this investor this much percent APY. But in order to pay those old investors, they need to recruit new investors to directly take their money from the new investors and pay off the old investors. And Ponzi schemes fail when they can't meet their obligations. They fail when they can't get new people in, right? But if you want to go ahead and call HEX or anything a Ponzi because it requires, constant or increasing demand, then you got to call everything in the world a Ponzi scheme, right? If you're going to be that loose with your definition. The difference is, a Ponzi scheme has a middleman making promises, right? HEX is literally just a piece of code. You can run it or not. It's you and the smart contract. There's no middleman paying you. You mint your own inflation. You mint more HEX by staking HEX. Again, it's optional. You don't have to. But if you want to, you can stake HEX and earn more HEX in the future by making basically a contract with yourself between you and the code saying, if I don't touch these coins for, 1,000 days, I'm going to make, 15, 16% APY, which is pretty good in HEX terms, right? And then the price of HEX obviously fluctuates. No one's forcing you, putting a gun to your head to say, hey, you got to click this button right now. You can hold your HEX liquid if you want. You can do whatever. But the price goes up and down. And in crypto is like the stock market on steroids, right? The volatility in crypto is the price you pay for the world's highest appreciating asset class. So be warned, okay? If you're going to get into crypto for the gains, you want the mad gains, you want the price to go to the moon, you've got to be able to withstand extreme volatility, which means what? Price is going to go way higher than you can possibly imagine. And price can also go way lower than you can possibly imagine. And emotions are extremely high in both of these scenarios. People get euphoric and then they get depressed. And because it's such a new market, there's volatility everywhere. So the price you pay for the mad gains is literally the volatility, right? And then the last thing that people like to say is they like to talk about the centralized ownership. Oh, one guy owns, maybe 90% of the coins. All right. Look, you want to talk about that in any asset? Is it illegal for one person to own a majority of the coins? No, absolutely not. Look at any stock, right? Look at BlackRock. They own the majority of all the, real estate in the world. In capitalism, people have centralized economic ownership, all right? And people conflate these two ideas. Centralized ownership is not the same as centralized from a technical standpoint. From a technical standpoint, anybody can get in. HEX is a free and open market, transparent on the blockchain. Everybody can see the transactions. There's nothing happening in dark pools or anything like that. And it's just the way crypto is supposed to be. But because one guy may or may not own, and I don't know if Richard, the founder, is actually the owner of what's called the origin address. People talk about the origin address, right? This is basically just an address that early on acquired, the lion's share of the HEX coins and has never touched them, by the way. Never, ever sold a single coin. So if you want to believe it's Richard, sure. I mean, I think that's probably likely, if I'm being honest. But hey, it might be a small team of people. For all I know, it could be locked up in a trust somewhere. It could not even be owned by Richard at all. It could be owned by some people behind the scenes. Doesn't really matter, because guess what? People don't realize that, the more stakes somebody has in something, the more skin in the game people have, the more incentivized they are to see the project do well. And real simple logic here. Why would anybody want to just nuke their own project, dump all their coins on the open market, crash it to almost zero, and then just walk away? I mean, who does that? One more thought here really quick. All right, did you know that there's only about $10 million of total liquidity on the market for HEX? If Richard Hart dumped all of his HEX, he could only extract $10 million out of it. And this dude is a multi, probably triple-digit millionaire. Okay, he doesn't need $10 million bucks. Might be hard to believe. And guess what else, guys? He's a public figure, all right? There's so many eyeballs on Richard. What do you think he's going out there dressed like a clown for on social media? It's to get followers and to stir up commotion. It's to engagement bait you, because it makes a better story to have a controversial cryptocurrency than one just everybody agrees is awesome, right? It's better to be the underdog in terms of the marketing aspect of it, the eyeballs, okay? You got to understand what's going on. He's out there on purpose, making a scene, right? He's dressing like a clown. He's getting people to either love him or hate him, because controversy sells. Nobody would like a boring old bland founder that doesn't do anything. right? People want a spectacle, and Richard Hart is not stupid in what he's doing. And you really think if you wanted to dump his whole entire stack for only, $9 million, $10 million, screw up the whole market, and then have us start over from almost zero again? What do you think would happen to such a public figure, guys? People go after him. People know who he is. People know what his name is. There's tens of thousands of people all over the world that would go after Richard. They'd be at his throat, okay? He'd get sued into oblivion, all right? Maybe even worse. The dude is not going to kill his own project. He doesn't have bad intentions. And even if he did, think about all the people that would be able to point and say, Richard Hart scammed me, okay? Find me one person that Richard Hart actually scammed. Richard Hart didn't scam anybody. It's as simple as that. The only people that lost in HEX were the people that bought high and sold low. If you bought low and sold high, like you're supposed to, and if you're holding for long-term time horizons, you're not trading, because traders always lose, you're going to be doing just fine. Tons and tons of people are doing amazingly well in HEX. All right, I'm one of them. I'm a perfect example. HEX got me financial freedom. It got plenty of other people too. Find me the people Richard scammed. And if he does decide to scam people, boy, are there going to be repercussions to pay. So the man's putting his whole entire reputation on the line for what he believes in, because he actually believes in his own product. All right, he's in it for the glory. He doesn't need to get more rich. He wants the recognition. All right, he wants people to realize that he invented something that is changing people's lives. It's really weird for me that I got to spell it out for people so bluntly, but there it is, guys. Read between the lines. I mean, we've actually seen founders of cryptocurrency dump their coins onto the hands of the open market, right? We've seen Charlie Lee from Litecoin do that, Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum, even the Chainlink founders. All these popular cryptocurrencies, they have centralized economic ownership, and they've actually provably dumped their coins on the open market, sending the price down. Vitalik helped make the top in 2017 in that bubble. These early founders that get a lot of coins, they often sell, and for some reason they get a pass, right? They get a pass, but a founder that's never ever sold a single coin somehow gets crazy scrutiny that he must be a scammer, right? Makes absolutely no sense to me. Because you can track all these coins, and believe me, people are watching these coins like a hawk, okay? If they ever get sold on the open market, you'll probably hear articles about it. I mean, hey, again, it's not illegal, and hey, can you really kill HEX? No, you could sell a whole bunch of coins and crash the price, but the code is still there. The code runs on. And then it's really just dispersed to new market participants that buy up the dip, and the world keeps going. The world keeps moving. So it's not even the end of the world if one day some HEX owned by, the original address does get sold. It's not even the end of the world, right? People just make all these wild, crazy stories in their head about evil Richard Hart, right? Like he's some evil guy. You guys got to realize something about Richard, all right? This dude's not in it for the money. He says that all the time. He's already rich, okay? I think a lot of people, they project what they would do if they own 90%. Oh, well, I would dump, so why wouldn't Richard dump all of his coins? The dude's already rich, okay? And let me tell you from experience, the wealthier you get, seriously, the wealthier you get, the less likely you are to sell your coins, because you don't need to. If you've got everything money can buy, everything in the world, you got a good house over your head, you got the best house, you got the best food, the best car, there comes a point of diminishing returns, okay? And you'll see a lot of rich people, they don't get richer by spending all their money, right? They get richer by saving it and using it to get new opportunities in the future, all right? Not to mention, here's something people that might not know about founder Richard Hart. If you're still worried, oh, what if he dumps one day? Well, for one, he's been around for 3 years, hasn't touched a single coin. And actually, I can go into more detail in another video about all the actions that the origin address has done that, other than selling, they actually signal that he's extremely bullish on the coin, right? He's staked some coins and moved some things around, providing liquidity, signaling that he's very, very bullish on the coin. He or she, whatever, right? Whoever the origin address is. I'm going to assume it's Richard for just the sake of the video, right? So this guy, he mines full Bitcoin blocks in 2011, 50 Bitcoin blocks. So he's already a Bitcoin multi-millionaire. People speculate he's got in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin alone because he was in there in 2011 before anybody. So he's been in the crypto space longer than anybody. He's basically an expert. He sees what works, sees what doesn't work. He also raised a whole bunch of money in the sacrifice phases for Pulse Chain and PulseX. If you were purely, and not only this, but before in his early 20s, he was already a self-made retired multimillionaire on a series of internet businesses. He was an early internet pioneer. He sold things like, sex toys, Miracle Cleaner, mortgages, just a whole bunch of random businesses. So he was rich and retired at the age of 23 in 2001. Didn't do anything. He said he wasted 10 years of his life playing video games for 10 years and just traveling the world. And then when he decided to be productive again, the dude starts mining Bitcoin. And so on top of this, he's also got the money raised from PulseX and Pulse Chain, right? If the dude needs any money at all, which he literally doesn't, like he can't, like I don't think he could spend all of his money if he tried. But wouldn't you think that instead of nuking himself and shooting himself in the head by just destroying HEX and dumping it all, don't you think he'd probably use some of his early money from his entrepreneurial days, or some of his early Bitcoin from his early Bitcoin days, or some of maybe the sacrifice money? Like I don't know how much more I need to spell this out to you people. Like, yeah, we're all taking a gamble that Richard's not going to dump, but it seems pretty fucking obvious, to be honest with you. And if you don't want to take that gamble, don't. Just don't. You can sit on the sidelines and you can watch as HEX passes you by in the next bull market. Just my opinion, okay? Just my opinion. But to all these people out there that might have seen some YouTube video of some just totally incorrect marketing or totally incorrect viewpoints about people getting pissed off that someone owns more or less of a coin, guess what? Satoshi Nakamoto owns 1 million Bitcoin. Now, most people think he's dead, but what if he's not? What if he just comes back and decides to dump all his Bitcoin? What if Vitalik Buterin dumps all of his Bitcoin? What if Elon Musk dumps all of his Tesla shares on the market? He owns, 30% of Tesla? What if he just dumps it all? What if they all just go totally AWOL, right? You know, you start to put these arguments into perspective and realize how stupid they sound, because the figureheads of their own project want to see it succeed, okay? They're not psychopaths. They might kind of be arrogant sometimes. You might not find their behavior very tasteful all the time. You know, it might hurt your little feelings or whatever, but the cool thing is you don't need to like or even care about Richard to be into HEX in the first place, right? He is set from the coin he created, and the coin he created is a finished product. What does it do? It was the first pioneer to invent Trustless Yield, okay? Trustlessly with no middleman, without giving your coins away to a third party, right? So there's what's called counterparty risk. A lot of people, they give up their Bitcoin, and then there's Bitcoiners, right? They claim to be all pro-freedom and pro-holding your own private keys, and then they'll show you something like BlockFi or a margin trading exchange so that they can get revenue from you giving up your private keys, giving your coins to some other third party, and doing whatever trading or letting them make yield for you. When, you know, we've seen with the Celsius collapse, they're often just corrupt and behind the scenes. They have no idea how to manage your money. So it's just amazing to me how flawed the logic is in some of these crypto people, right? We're here to make money. We're here to overthrow the corrupt Federal Reserve and take the power back into our own hands. Yeah, that's all great. But you don't do that by shilling margin trading that gets people destroyed. Trading is literally like the meat grinder. People go, they trade their money, they lose it to someone that's way better than them. And way more than half of traders lose. Something like maybe 60 to 80% of traders lose. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? So all these people are out here thinking that the only thing you can do in crypto is trade. That's total garbage, okay? The only thing that works in crypto is buying and holding the right assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, HEX, things that are going to be around a while. And you just sit on your ass and you hold it and you do nothing. And boy, do I love holding something that pays me yield every single day, like HEX, right? Getting paid to hold makes holding a lot easier, guys. I'll tell you that for sure. And so with the staking dynamic in HEX, it really is revolutionary, but you don't get rich in crypto by trading or giving your private keys away to Celsius. That'll get you wrecked. And guys, next year, there's going to be a new Celsius, and the year after that, there's going to be another one. And in the past, we've had countless HEX, Quadriga CX, Mt. Gox. Those are two of the biggest ones. There's new hacks in DeFi every day. Just today, the Binance Smart Chain bridge got hacked for, I think, $500 million or something like that. So it's the Wild West out here. It's dangerous. You need to pick assets that are safe, that can actually make you money, that can beat inflation, that because your currency is being devalued every single day, right? You have less and less purchasing power every day, and you're getting taxed on top of that. You're getting robbed, okay? You're getting robbed. You need to be in crypto, in my opinion, or you can sit on the sidelines and watch the revolution pass you by. To me, it's too risky not to, okay? It's too risky to just do nothing. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, I put $100 into Bitcoin. What's that going to do for me? If Bitcoin goes to $100,000, which would be astronomical, great, your $100, it turned into $500. If you put your money into HEX and HEX does 1,000x in the next couple of years, your $100 turns into $1 million. Just simple math here. Which one's higher, 1 million or 1,000, right? So I'm not trying to sell you either way, right? It's obviously up to you. I just wanted to give you the other side of the story because I think a lot of people out here, they're just telling facts that are totally incorrect. People are saying things like HEX doesn't even have a product. Like, HEX is the product. It's a finished product. It's been finished since day one, right? It was a finished smart contract. It can never be added to. It can never be updated. Now, that's a good thing because you don't want somebody with what's called admin keys where they have a backdoor into the code and then they can mess with all the code. Like Bitcoin, every time it gets upgraded, it's a new risk, right? And there's been 2 Bitcoin inflation bugs in the past. And that's not to say there can't be another one. Now, Bitcoin is pretty safe, right? I mean, I trust Bitcoin. They'll be around for a while. I trust it'll be pretty safe. But it's not impossible for the developers to upgrade it and then somebody makes a fuck up and then it could be catastrophic, right? I mean, we just have to hope and pray. Now, I'm not trying to FUD, right? Bitcoin is fine. You can start with Bitcoin if it helps you feel better, but just know that there's other things out here and that the people telling you one way or another that they know for sure something definitely won't work or something is definitely a scam. You need to do your own research, which is probably why you're watching this video right now. You need to make that decision for yourself, okay? Take in all the facts into consideration and realize that HEX is just a protocol like everything else in DeFi, highly misunderstood. And one more point I want to make on that whole centralized economic energy thing. You know, the origin address in HEX is actually getting diluted over time. You know, in 10 years, the origin address is going to have close to only like half of the HEX. 10 or 15 years, the ownership percentage is going to go from 90% to like 52% in 15 years, roughly, if the origin address continues to hold liquid, because all the stakers in HEX, they're earning more interest every single day. Okay, they're earning more interest every single day, and they're diluting the origin address that is just holding their liquid to basically help be the holder of last resort. Okay, and it's also keeping the APY nice and high for all of us new people coming in. I'll get to that in another video, right? But guys, that's basically the arguments, right? I don't like Richard because he might own the majority of the coins. I mean, he's a founder, right? He cares about his project. Here's another thing about, last point on that topic, okay? Last point on the centralized ownership thing. What people are really looking for is promises, right? If Richard Hart went out there and said, hey, I promise I'm not going to sell the coins, everybody would be fine, right? Because people are addicted to promises of profit from the work of others, basically. But the reason that promises can't be made, and the reason that I think a lot of people get confused in HEX is because they can't have their promises because HEX is not a security. And in order for HEX to not be a security, it has to fail the Howey test, meaning you can't make promises with the expectation of profit from the work of others. And HEX doesn't do that, which confuses a lot of people, guys. But I'm just here to tell you the objective facts, and you make your own conclusions, all right? So buy HEX or not, like it doesn't affect my life at the end of the day. But people are going to tell you, look, Richard Hart owns too much. He shouldn't own that much. And, you know, who are they to say, right? This is capitalism. It's not communism. People don't like the marketing. Guys, you need marketing for the price to go up. You need more adoption to make more demand. Hexicans are one of the only people being honest about that. And then finally, the price crashed, so it must be a scam. Guys, the prices of everything crash all the time. Things go up and down when people buy, up and down when people sell. And if that's a Ponzi scheme to you, then good luck, buddy, because everything in the world is a Ponzi scheme according to your definition. So again, the price you pay for the mad gains is extreme volatility. Either you want to stomach it or you want to sit on the sidelines and wait while it passes you by. Either way, you have a decision to make, and the decision is entirely up to you. So choose wisely. I'll see you on the next video.